I have when I first started getting into anti-fashion or alternative fashion, my reasons were to judge the way people reacted to me, and by that way see if I was interested in knowing them. It was a very good way to find that you only meet tolerant people straight away. Anyone who's totally intolerant is just not going to be interested in talking to you. And also, as a girl, going to nightclubs and dealing with men, it certainly screamed out any man that seemed to be just interested in me as a sexual figure. He had to also be interested in me as a person, because I didn't look just like a pretty girl with extreme styles. You might realize someone is trying to make a statement, but it's not fair for you to judge what that statement is without
Alright guys, how's it going today? Audio sound okay? Fan here a little bit. Let's see if we can improve upon that a bit. How is everyone? How is everything? How is whatever the fuck this is supposed to be? I can tell you. But it's something. Oh, Lord Almighty. What am I doing? What am I doing? Okay. How's everyone today? Can I get some in chat? Can I get some big mass? Can I get some meh in chat? Not meh, like meh. Give me some mess. I want the mess. Meh. The ultimate, the, the, the I wouldn't call it a mating call, but the call of the schizoid. Meh, 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 meh. Come on, give me some mess. I want all the mess in the world. I can give you a buzzing like a bzz. Okay, I'll take a bzz. Does that translate to meh? BB, does your buzz translate to like the B equivalent to a meh? Because I want more meh in my life. Give me that. Come on, you guys are disappointments. I want to hear that anhedonia call out to me. You spoil sports. Who would have thunk that a bunch of people that would listen to some schizoid guy on the internet are a bunch of spoiled sports? Jeez, I could have swore you guys would be the lives of the party, like I am all the time. BB's the life of the party, that's for sure. The life of the hive, right? Okay, guys. Now there's a few of you here, so that's good. So I can get started on whatever I'm going to ramble on here about. So, I always have different things just kind of stuck in my head. Be of the month, yes, you are. I always have various things stuck in my head throughout the day, when I wake up, when I go to bed, when I'm taking a shit. There's always some kind of thought straying, bumbling about inside my tiny, tiny, small brain. And it changes very quickly from thing to thing. Some stuff lasts longer than others. Hell, that could be even a topic in and of itself. That is not today's topic. Well, it could be any topic could be today's topic. I usually just like to pick something, and then if it turns into a conversation, cool about that. But if it turns into something else, or it just goes off into the weeds, or just becomes nothing and fizzles out into oblivion, that's okay too. I don't really need it to be consistent. This stream and everything on it, there's nothing consistent about it because consistency is stupid and boring, and I hate it. Except for when it's like like consistently have my legs and my eyes. That part's cool. I like that kind of consistency. I know that's not very like cool. That's pretty boomer of me. Yeah, I like my appendages being intact and my eyes in my head, but whatever. I'm a loser, I guess. It's okay. What I want to unmute on Discord. No, I'm not unmuting on Discord. BB, kick you in your face. Unmute on Discord. BB, you're so fucking entitled. You fucking stupid bee. Fine, I'll unmute on Discord, but I'm not undeafening because I'm not talking to anyone. There, now you could hear me. Wait, did I want to stay deafened? What's the point? I hate you, baby. See what you do to me. See what you do. This is your goddamn fault because of your bullshit entitlement. Hold on. You think I was gonna see if I can't mute and deafen? I mean, I can't just deafen? Nah, dude, sorry. I'm not gonna do it right now because I don't want to start hearing other people talking if they jump on. Yeah. Sorry, BB. You're gonna have to wait because if I do that, then other people are gonna jump on and start talking, and I'm not ready to have other people jumping on and talking. Apparently, Discord doesn't let you just deafen yourself and stay muted. Wait, yeah, it does. The fuck? Hold on. Why is it doing that to me then? Okay, take off the. Why does it? Yeah, I guess you can't. You can't. Yeah, it doesn't let. Yeah, you can't. I guess Discord doesn't let you deafen, but unmute. So I can't do that. I guess that makes sense. That's so that you can't just be screaming into a VC chat while you're muted and can't hear everyone telling you to get the fuck out. That's probably why it's like that. Or also because that way, if you think you muted yourself, people can't just hear you and you're deafened, so you can't hear anyone telling you that everyone can still hear you. But in any case, Amber Joe, on the topic of family ties, have you noticed any pattern with schizoid personality types and enmeshment with a particular family member? Mm, yeah, I've heard that a bunch of times. Um, not everyone deals with that, but there are some Zoids out there that have like that one person in their family that they kind of unload what little emotions they can onto, or get affection from, or are comfortable with getting affection from that one particular person because they've known him for so many years. It's usually like a family member or something. Sometimes it's a partner, and it's just that person. Like they don't like hugs or intimacy of any kind from anyone else. Just like that one person. But sometimes it could be somebody's like grandmother, or mother, or father, or something like that, or sister, brother. Yeah, there's been a lot of people that have kind of mentioned that. um, but not everyone. Some people it's just like nobody. So yeah, it just depends. Every unique's different. I really connect with my brothers. Michael says, yeah, I rarely connect with anyone ever except for my wife and kids. So I understand. As far as my family, there's a lot of connections. I'm working on connecting with my sister a little bit more, but it's still like it's still tough. It's still really tough. So it's a tough thing. Um, I get along with my youngest brother, but the middle child and I don't really talk anymore. Well, Michael, if you're on that schizophrenia spectrum or whatever, and you want to talk about or schizotypal spectrum, whatever you want to call it, I don't care, schizo spectrum, and you want to talk about your weird dynamic with your family, I'm interested in listening. It doesn't have to be specifically schizoid; it could be schizotypal or otherwise. I just like hearing experiences that might overlap in some case or another. But the way to do that is you'd have to jump on the Zoid Void, join up on the server as a non-Zoid temporarily. If you are schizoid, then you can join up as a schizoid later in the application. If you're not already in there, that way you can jump on the live stream later, and talk about it. Amber Joe, I feel like I'm peeling back layers of the onion. LOL. An onion I could not figure out how to peel for years. Well, Amber, be careful when you try to peel an onion, right? Because it can make you cry. But it's true. Sometimes onions are not a good idea to peel, and if you're going to peel them, do it very slowly and carefully, and with the consent of the onion. Because if you peel too much, too hard, or without warning, it could all end in tears. I'll tell you that, and probably not theirs. Um, so just caution and patience is all I'm saying. Amber. Let me see here. All right, we got some more peeps. Well, Paul's doing all right. I'm interested in what people get from that, what they start typing in. Now, that's what I'm interested in talking about today. I want to talk a little bit about family. Whatever it is, right? Whether somebody wants to talk about their interpersonal difficulties, confusions, uh, anxieties, or whatever between themselves and family members, whether it's immediate family or extended family or whatever. If you want to just talk about it more broadly, if you want to talk about it like anecdotally, like you want to tell a story, I'm interested in hearing that about how things went awry because of, say, being somebody that's schizoid or similar. Well, in that spectrum, and the difficulties that come with that, and some of the tragedy that comes with that at times. Or if something funny happens, I don't care. But I want to hear stories. I want to hear your ideas on it. Um, so it doesn't have to be like a specific. You don't have to tell something about yourself. You can just kind of talk about it more broadly and be interested in your opinion, your thoughts. I don't care if they're negative or positive or whatever. Like I'm curious to hear other people's opinions that would bother listening to the stream, because people that listen to this stream for any length of time are probably interested in the subject of schizoid or relate to certain things regarding it in some regard. So hearing stories, especially for diagnosis, is especially interesting. Or you know what I'm saying, or you're pretty much a fucking hermit for whatever reason. Like you're a fucking hermit out there. I'd like to hear your story and how things can become difficult with family involved. So, as usual, I would ramble about my own situation, um, uh, which is a bit unique because I'm very, very close to my wife and kids, and but I'm not very close at all to my actual, I guess, immediate family, mother, father, sister, stuff like that. Grandparents, they're all dead, I think. Extended family, forget about it. So, like, I'm on that kind of disconnected from blood family sort of boat. Though I am trying to repair, though it's going to take time. Not repair, even establish. I wouldn't say it's broken. It just never got established for obvious reasons with the sister, and and then start kind of understanding my mother a little bit more for the sake of my kids, because they're her grandkids. So, and she's a good grandma. So anyway, that's me. It's more complicated than that. But I could talk about that all fucking day and everything, but it just I get tired of hearing myself talk about myself because that's all I do in my head. But if somebody has questions, I will gladly answer them. Or if you jump on, especially if you jump on and tell me your shit and then you have questions about my shit, I will gladly answer because, quid pro quo. I should start doing that. I should start doing like oh, gross, Amber. Don't say that, please. No selfless. Blah, please. God, delete, delete, delete. That's like no. Yeah, I don't consider any of that selfless. I just consider it. If anything, I could argue it's selfish because I want to get something out of you guys, I guess, like which is me not talking. Um, yeah, definitely wouldn't consider myself selfless. That's maybe I'm not selfish, but I'm definitely not selfless. That's absurd. I don't think anybody is. Maybe a specific action can be, but yeah, whatever. Ugh. I'd be more comfortable with someone stating that an act itself is selfless, not that the individual doing it is selfless. That's, to me, just seems over the top. Oh yeah, no, it's still selfish, Amber. Well, not selfish, but I mean, I wouldn't call it selfless because it's just it's my kids, right? So it's still something for me because it's my kids that I love, so or whatever. Yeah, like it's still kind of selfish, selfless, not really either. It's kind of in between, whatever. I don't know, Amber. Shut up. Um, so So yeah, I'll open up the live stream in a second here. That way we can chat it up a bit and see what you guys have to say. If anybody has anything to say, hopefully somebody does, because otherwise I'm going to be saying things, and that's not as fun as hearing others say things and then me responding to the things they said. That's a little more entertaining for me, as well as probably better content and richer content than just me rambling for the next hour change, which I can easily do, but I don't know. I'm not in the mood. But if it comes down to it, whatever. Hold on. So I'm gonna grab a quick. Let me grab myself a quick drink while I give people an opportunity to hop in if that's what they want to do. The bastard son of a- I'm not a bastard. Just kidding. Saying that. That'd be interesting, right? If I was. What is considered a close relationship? Um, hmm. I don't know. Whatever you think that is, right? I mean, anything beyond, I guess, like parasocial, where the person doesn't, or like anything beyond parasocial or like erotomania, I guess, would probably be pretty close. I mean, like a best friend is close, right? Like if you have one person you can communicate things with to some degree in your life or something, I guess. But as far as also close with a family, I don't know. I guess I don't know how to define that. It's up to the individual. Like that's kind of a hard question. Hi Matt. Okay, let me see what's going on here. Boop. Okay, I's here. Who's on here right now? Let's see. Hey Snowmo. Hi Nomo.
Hi.
Hey it's Snowmo. I'm glad to hear from you.
It feels like it's been like 9 years since I've been on the stream.
9 years. Hasn't even been 1 year. Hasn't even been that long. I think last time you had hopped in, but then kind of ducked out before you had a chance.
Yeah, I was going through it.
It's all good. Do your thing. How did I know that when I was going to mention family, no one was going to hop on? Okay. I didn't know. I'm just joking because if anybody has tales to tell, it sure is you. So is that what calls you forward? Did I summon you with the subject matter?
I just felt like hopping on. The topic didn't really interest me, but I have plenty to share on it, I suppose.
No, 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 no. Nomo, if you are not interested in talking about that, we do not have to. That is how my stream works. We are not
I
talking
don't
about.
mind.
No, 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 no. We're not going to use Nomo. You are not in the best shape. I can tell by the sound of your voice, and I do not need you to strain yourself with depressing topics. Um, we can talk about why why is that your icon?
Because it's a cute cat and I like the sticker.
That's a sticker.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's
like a
part of a sticker series.
like a physical sticker?
No, it's a digital sticker.
How do digital stickers work? What does that mean? Outside of their just
It,
tiny images.
it's okay. All right, Boomer, hear me out.
Hey, come
It's
on,
a
shaming me.
okay. They're basically just tiny little simplistic, usually like they're usually simplistic, uh, like PNG drawings with no background, and like they're just a sticker.
So it's just a transparent background image that's tiny and cute.
Yeah, usually.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess that's pretty handy for stuff like avatars and shit, right? For like different stuff.
I usually use them for that or to not have to pay for Nitro, so I'll just like send a transparent sticker directly
Oh, so then it
to
works like
express myself.
so is
Yeah.
it works like an emote?
Yeah, pretty much.
You don't need Nitro to use emotes, though. You just need Nitro to use
Well, you
memes.
you do you do if you want to use like nice emotes. Otherwise, you get the basic like yellow face
Oh,
ones
so you
and
can't use server emotes when even when the
no,
server's boosted?
no. You can use the emotes from like I could use the Zoid Void emotes in the Zoid Void, but I can't use them in other servers or
Oh,
in
got it,
DMs
got it.
unless I have Nitro.
Yeah, okay. I think that's part of why I got it. I got it because I like GIF, the little animated emotes, and I got it so I get boosts, so I put them toward the server. So I guess there's that. That's what I'm doing. If anybody wants to jump on, though, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, me and Noah here are just going to talk about random shit. But today's subject, if anybody wants to jump in and talk about it, is going to be family ties and family lies. It sounds like a fucking episode of Maury, doesn't it? I like that. It's like a Maury. Do you know Maury? Are you too young for Maury?
Uh, what's the
Maury
what's the full
Povich?
title?
Maury, the Maury show, the Maury Povich. Like a
I
Maury.
have no idea what that is.
It was like you've probably seen memes, the ones where the most memeable thing because it used to be like a show that was just like over the top Dr. Phil type shit, and then it became really popular because all it did was have back to back episodes of "You are not the father, you are the father" uh, type episodes where basically they would do like what we called uh, uh, paternity tests like on stage, like in a Jerry Springer, Dr. Phil style setting. And like the people that were the couples would usually be really like over the top, or like either they'd just be like, let's just say they wouldn't bring the best and the brightest of America to the show, and then they would just be some girl screaming about how this is y'all baby, and then the guy's like, nah, it ain't my baby, you a slut. And then it would just kind of go on.
Sounds like exploiting people in unfortunate situations.
Yes, but also I think a lot of it was fake. So I think initially some of it was real, and I think after that, because it was marketable, they just started getting people to say things, and because kind of that's kind of what ended up in like stuff like Jerry Springer, like because they couldn't get enough actual crazy people, they just started paying people to act crazy. So, but yes, I just remember that, and so it was always you are not the father, and then the guy would start dancing like happy, and then the girl would run away crying in a very kind of specific way every time. And if it was you are the father, it would be the dad guy looking super sad and dejected while the girl gets up and yells at his face and points her finger saying, I told you, I told you, I told you. So um, that was usually like every episode of Maury after a while, and people seem to like watching it. I did not like watching it. I just like the memes. memes are funny. That's about it. And what's interesting too, Nomo, is these type of shows are not reserved to English speaking nations. No, no, no. There are plenty of Latin American versions of this stuff. So many in Spanish. And for those that don't know, I do speak Spanish. But there are shows like Caso Cerrado and like a bunch of other ones. But Caso Cerrado is a really ridiculous one where they get supposedly real. It's kind of like People's Court. You know what People's Court is, right, Noah? You heard of People's Court?
No, what's that?
Maybe okay. Judge Judy. You know Judge Judy?
Yeah,
Okay, that kind of shit. You know where they have the cases, and then the people are
I
like,
see.
"You hit my car," and then the other person's like, "No, I didn't," and then they have like, "Not my proof," and then they're like, "Finger wag." Um, but but in the other one, the Spanish version, it's so much worse. Like if you've seen Judge Judy or whatever. There's a parking one, I think. There's a bunch of different ones. If you've ever seen those, like I'm the charismatic judge and I rule over these civil matters that are stupid type show, there's a show in Spanish called Case Closed. Caso Cerrado. Basically, it's terrible because what they do is these cases are totally fake. At least I'm hoping to God they're fake because the acting's really bad and the stories are just absurd. So the judge is real, from what I know, but they're just there to pretend like they're judging an actual civil case. And and in the case of the American shows, those are real cases, and they because you can tell like the matters aren't too insane. They're usually kind of can be a little, especially with dealing juveniles or something, can be a little wild, but they don't get too insane. They're pretty realistic most of the time. Though the ones on the Spanish version of this, it's like a Mexican version. They're just fucking ridiculous. I'm talking like my dad, like turned me into a like prostitute, and then like my mom bought me, and then my dad kidnapped me to get me back because I made too much money. Like it's just the most insane shit you can think of. Like most crazy, traumatic, over the top shit. Like there's been episodes where like the people get arrested at the end of the episode. Like where like a secret comes out, a witness comes out and says they're the ones that actually killed mother, and then and then the cops come in and they arrest the person. Like it's just the most absurd shit in the world. And
What's the point of talking about this?
oh, I'm just buying time. I don't know. Does there have to be a point?
Well, it's just you were so long-winded. I forgot the reason why you started talking, and I was like, this is so uninteresting. Why are you... I feel like I'm talking to my family when or like my grandma when she goes on and on about what she did in the day and what she did with her garden, and then she asks me a question, and then she doesn't let me answer, and I just sit there like, all right, and then she keeps talking, on and on she goes.
Okay. There we go. You brought it. You tied it full circle to the family. Good job, Noah. You've done it. I'm boring like your grandmother. Jesus. I don't know why I talked about that. I just kind of went off on a tangent. That's all.
That's all right.
Like I said, I often forget I'm having a conversation with another person, and I just start drifting off into weird streams of consciousness. It's very common for me. Let's see here. I'm reading the chat here. Yeah, see, that's unfortunately my brain at its worst at times. When it comes to my ability to run a stream in any capacity.
Have you ever been like forced into like serious um, either family drama or someone's individual drama just because you're a neutral figure? Like you're so
Oh yeah,
indifferent that they think you're the I can't speak. They think you're on their side when you're not,
yeah.
even when you directly told them like I'm too indifferent to give a shit and I don't want to be involved in your business. They're just like then they just like reminisce on their memories and then shit talk. What I'm only speaking of this because I have family drama like this going on right now.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like I've been in situations, and it's not just family. Honestly, it could be at work too. Situations in which you're just trying to stay, you're just kind of keep your head low, and just you're looking at everything, and you're just like, this shit's so fucking annoying. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to get involved. This shit's fucking awful. I can't. I don't have an opinion because if it were up to me, all this would be avoided because all these problems that I'm seeing in front of me have a million solutions that no one is taking or bothering to try, and I am just, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's the fucking worst, and because especially if you're a person that's like really passive about your neutral kind of stance, they that people will oftentimes take advantage of that to use you as like a sounding board to like try to show, oh, there's another person on my side, not yours, right? So
Yeah, I've had that happen with my mother because she recently was able to get away from my dad, but her being borderline, she's like super uh, emotionally unstable right now, and I can understand her state of mind and like read what's going on, like what her brain wants super easily, because it's like I'm also borderline, so it's just like it's easy as shit.
you're the best kind of
But
borderline, the schizoid borderline, the ultimate combo.
well, it's not just that; it's also I also have dependent
I
stuff going
no,
on.
I know. It was just a shitty joke. That's all it
I don't know. I'm just mentioning that because it affects how I interact with my mom.
was. Oh yeah.
Because my entire family infantilizes me, and I'm too. I guess people call me good-willed. I just like I see my mom suffering, and I hate her guts. But at the same time, I'm just like I'm too indifferent in the moment talking to her because I schizoid front with her, and at the same time, I like know how to work around her brain and like help her. And I'm like, well, I mean, if I can somehow bring less suffering in the world with my weird ass brain, I might as well do something, even if it's with the person who neglected me and made me like have my schizoid adaptations develop strong enough that like it feels like they're locked in now.
Um, what I was going to say, though, I mean, I know this isn't much of a silver lining in such a situation, but because you're struggling sometimes with your own kind of internal, not so generally expressed issues, BPD sort of issues, I would say, I mean, one silver line would be by studying her behavior, you might learn something about how to manage some of, or see what I don't know. Like maybe you can learn something about BPD as a whole. Like
I have done that.
so.
Honestly, most of the time, why I even reach out to her in the first place or pick up her calls if she happens to call me is so I can study her to better understand the perspective of my partner and like prove to my brain um, like that he cares and stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah,
Because
that's a good way to do it.
because it's like I know he does, but my brain can get stuck on stupid things like because he talks about this system he uses based on a book. Um,
Yeah.
it's like the Loving Someone with BPD book by like Sherry Manning or something like that. Um, I used some of that with my mom, and it worked, and I was like, I see. But it just showed me that like doesn't matter if a system is used, the intent is what matters.
Well,
Because I basically used it through myself to understand.
what some of that internal shit is and how to manage it.
Well, no, just to understand, like, how he uses the system to, like, understand the internal mindset of it, or, like, something close enough to, like, prove to my brain and, like, disprove the bullshit it can think of.
I mean, and I'll tell you right now, as someone that is not VPD, but definitely a Zoid in every other capacity, and was strongly as much, even more so in my 20s. The fact that any effort is being made on the part of somebody, be it trying to follow a system or otherwise, in the language of the schizoid, is, in my opinion, a very profound thing. Um, that is just my own opinion on that. That's all. It's just it doesn't translate very well into other forms of thought at times. Let me see who I have. Someone else on too. Floor. Hello, Floor. I know you've been waiting for a little bit. Um,
Hi.
is there something you wanted to contribute regarding family stuff?
Um, I think that I used to care a lot about the family stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and now I actually don't. I want to take time for myself and not worry about them. And I think learning what BPD does to you, or if you're BPD, and how it works with you, it's more important than taking care of your family.
Wait. So are you? Who has BPD?
So I don't know. Um, my mom is paranoid. She might have BPD.
Okay.
Um, I think certain family members got like the same kind of traits, like BPD, almost like worrying about other people, how they look at them, belittling when they feel attacked, and
So like a high level of sensitivity regarding security of self in relation
yeah,
to other
but
people and or
right.
people that are close to them. Okay.
So I I used to think I'm doing something wrong, and that's why they're so sensitive. Like they react.
Yeah, like
But
yeah.
you know, I also dated someone that just got diagnosed with BPD, and they told me how their brain worked, and it like really made me realize why they get so upset about stuff and why they react, and when they react, they say all the bad things about me.
Mm-hmm. Like where the lashing out and the projection and everything else is coming from? Like those sort of things. Lou, are you still there? Or did I lose you?
You
Oh, you're
hear
back?
me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So, I mean,
Sorry,
no, it's okay. Just to clarify, because just to kind of have an understanding of your relationship with these people. I know I might have asked this before. Are you diagnosed with anything yourself? Because I can't keep track of everyone.
so no, I'm not. Um, but he like I went to support groups for BPD and narcissistic, whatever.
Mm.
And in one of those groups, the leader would just tell me like, "No, you're very flat. You're schizoid."
They just said that. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, That's a wild thing to say if you're not like someone's psychologist. Just oh, you're schizoid. um, but so the group. Why did you attend those groups?
After I realized I have to change, like I have to be less passive, and um, I had a few, I think, like at least probably 2 relationships that had probably BPD. One for sure BPD.
Because the one that you stated was diagnosed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not it's not uncommon, by the way. And obviously, I can't say what you are and you're not, or whatever the fuck. I'm not a doctor. I'm just some fucking loser on the internet that's trying to help schizoids and other schizos. Um, it's not uncommon for schizoid, if they do find a partner, to find a partner that is like either like BPD, sometimes histrionic, like more very very expressive, very very emotional partners. It's like
Yeah.
it's not uncommon at all. That's kind of a common situation because they'll get into relationships where they get pulled in by somebody because they're so passive and so indifferent about a lot of things that especially when you're talking about someone, a schizoid, that's like really really just kind of indifferent and passive enough to where they can more easily be like pulled into a relationship that might not necessarily be good for them or either person. That's kind of a common thing.
I also give that, like, for me everything is like, oh, why are you so upset? Like very.
Very what? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Well, you know what? Let me show. And there we go. What were you saying? So very what? Looks like I might have lost track of you there. Is it me or you? I don't know. I'm not sure. Is it my stream?
It's probably their signal.
Oh, okay. Probably is. That's okay. I mean, I'll manage it regardless. It's not like I'm going anywhere for the next hour or so. Well, Floor, if you have a chance to jump back on and continue, I'll be glad to listen. Oh, wait, you're back. I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You hear me?
you were gone for a little while, like, for the last
Okay.
minute, almost minute.
Okay. I am walking.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean that's fine. But you were saying something. I don't remember. I don't remember the last thing that was said. So bad.
So yeah, I just said I might have like wanted to understand their way of thinking, like maybe understand them, maybe I don't know.
Is it because were you trying? Did you want to understand them so you could salvage this relationship, or did you want to understand them to learn more about yourself, or a little bit of both? What were you trying to do?
Uh, no, because of I probably like tried to redo my childhood stuff. Like I literally told the boyfriend that I was with
Mm-hmm.
that he should stop acting that way, and if he wants to see how ridiculous it looks like, he should go look at my mother.
Oh man, that's pretty rough. How do you feel about what you said?
Well, I don't.
Or, I mean, it's fine if you don't. Like, I'm just wondering what your situation is. I can't hear you. again. Um, well, Fleur, why don't you jump back on the live stream when maybe you're stationed somewhere where the connection or your stuff's a little more stable? Because I'm kind of losing you in and out constantly. So just hop in. Just if you can hear me, just hop in a little later once maybe closer to a signal or something, or have a stronger Wi-Fi signal or your phone, whatever. So I'd be interested to hear a little bit more about where that's going. Okay. There's that. Well, I'll talk about that a little bit. I'm curious. So, one of the things that's kind of difficult, only because I'm not saying anything, I'm just kind of it reminds me of kind of like my own experiences. One of the things that's difficult about I can't imagine because well, I might be able to actually, but in other instances in my life in the past, but I can imagine what the difficulties that would come with if somebody is in fact schizoid PD or whatever, and how your defenses and everything else and your own sorts of cope and rationalization would have to get triggered very easily by somebody that's incredibly emotional or volatile, especially if there's something like BPD, right? Ups and downs and the black and the white thinking that oftentimes can be part of the case, right? And you go from enemy to loved one very quickly depending on their state and what's going on. And uh, one thing that's difficult to think about is for a lot of schizoids out there, the average person feels like too much, right? The average individual kind of emotional volatility, even if it's much more, I guess, reasonable or not manageable, not reasonable, manageable, uh, is still a lot for a lot of schizoids, I think, when it comes to the interpersonal world, right? Specifically that. And so there are situations in which sometimes we can, I've said shit I regret, right, to somebody that isn't necessarily, isn't BPD, but like just it can get to emotion. Well, can get emotional about interpersonal things that I personally don't connect to, and I personally think are much more manageable and reasonable to kind of work around and deal with than the very emotionally charged individuals dealing with those interpersonal issues can do themselves because of how much it actually affects them. And it doesn't affect me in the same way. And so, oftentimes, you can get frustrated, right, with that situation. And it can be especially frustrating because that person, those individuals don't understand your situation, your sorrows, your difficulties, and everything else, right? They can't understand you, yet there's this expectation for you to understand them, right? Because they're much more interpersonally connected emotional behavior it's more acceptable form, right? It's closer to an acceptable form of emotional connection, right? If it gets a little over the top, like more intense, somebody might say, "Oh, that person's really in love with them," or "That person's really sad," right? It's not until their behavior becomes like disruptive that people start going, "Oh man, this person's crazy," or some shit like that. So it's a little easier, but anyway, the point being that the schizoid might react to a person that's being emotional to whatever degree with a certain level of callousness, right? Depending on their behavior. They might present that callousness and indifference and disgust openly, or they might be dealing with it internally and then just be very passive because they don't want to deal with the problem associated with it, right? Obviously, the overtly callous person can do their own kind of damage to other people, even if it's not intentional. In fact, even if it's an attempt on their part to be helpful, and it's not malevolent. It's definitely not malevolent on the part of the schizoid, especially. It's just more of, I don't understand what language you're speaking right now. Why can't you just find a solution? Why do you need me to find a solution? And I can offer you solutions, but you won't listen to any of them. So why am I bothering? That's kind of like the feeling or the thought you might get, right? Because they're going through the motions of something that is entirely alien, or very much alien to perhaps you. And unfortunately, like I said, that can lead to a certain level of callousness and um, aloofness that could be not intentionally, but it can be harmful to someone that you might actually care about for other reasons. Right? And it's unfortunate. It's just an unfortunate form of miscommunication that's occurring. Right? And some of it may stem from some level of resentment, right? Which, in my case, it probably was years ago, and it was the situations where I would be like, well, why should I bother understanding your emotional plight and considering that I'm seeing it as so over the top, because of the interpersonal nature of it, when nobody understands my emotional plight or is willing to comprehend it, which is not of an interpersonal nature. It's of a different kind of nature. But since mine feels so invalid, my suffering feels so invalid or invalidated by my world, it's a lot more difficult for you to want to make any attempt to understand and validate other people's more commonly interpersonal emotional states. If that makes sense. Yumsy, or Vumsy, I get some flack for being hard to understand from close ones because on one hand I try to be kind, helpful, be of service, supportive, friendly, and all that good stuff. But on the other hand, they do, they don't get emotional connection with me whatsoever. So I end up seeming manipulative or whatever, or as if I have an agenda. Oh man, I know what you're talking about, Vumsy. But I try to explain to them that I try to be good towards others due to being moral, not because of emotion, due to it being morally just. Yeah, that's you're basically describing, Bumsy, like a cognitive empathy. And you know what? Like, I'm starting to think this. Okay, here, hot take. Are you guys ready? Give me a one in chat if you want a hot fucking take. I like to see a little fucking, I guess, interaction before I say some stupid shit. So give me a one in chat if you want a hot take regarding this. Man, I'm tired. I'm always tired. Ugh. Give me one more one. Come on. There's like 6 of you. You can get half of you to give me a fucking one. Christ. Ugh, Lord. Just to see if it's if it's worth bothering me, just rambling about this shit a little bit. Oh, everyone fucking left. That's how it be sometimes. That's one thing I'm always gonna get from. I think that's what Momo says. I know I think that's what they say. It just be like that sometimes. I think that's what they say, and that's something that's really stuck with me. It is what it is. Yeah, I've heard that one, but I think it's Nanomo who was just on to say it just be like that sometimes, or things just be that way. I don't remember which one it was. If they want to correct me in chat, go for it. But it's something of that nature. and I always kind of like found it relatable. Oh, there you go. It do be like that sometimes. There you go. I think it's that. I think that's the one, Bumsy. I think it do be like that sometimes. Yeah, yeah, that's the one. That's probably like a slight, younger person meme or something. Way to say it. Because in my old ass years, it was just, it is what it is. That's what you would say. It is what it is. But I like the it do be like that sometimes. Like, much better for some reason. Okay, well, nobody else is putting any fucking ones, but I'll say it anyway. Nobody else is putting one in chat. 2 ones is good enough, I guess. Doesn't matter. Okay, so my hot take regarding, I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. Once it kicks off, I'll go off on a twice as good as one. That's true. About shit. What was it about? No. What's I'll read and then I'll remember. Oh yeah, cognitive empathy and schizoid. Okay, so hear me out here. Okay. Okay, a lot of the times when I hear about empathy in regards to people that talk about, people that are say they're schizoid, or even people that are schizotypal will have to kind of deal with this because they have different concerns than your average person, right? And a lot of those concerns aren't interpersonal; they're very different. Um, but more specifically in the case of the schizoid, many of them tell me this. Many say, "Oh, I can have a lot of cognitive empathy, but not affective empathy." Right. So what that means is you can intellectually understand what's moral and ethical to you in your mind, and for many that usually gets quantified as suffering is bad. In most cases, suffering is something that should be avoided in some regard or another. Obviously, there's ethical boundaries, and some suffering might be necessary in some conditions. Some suffering is productive. Some suffering is not productive. Some suffering is avoidable. Some is not. So on and so forth. Point being that certain types of suffering, because we can't connect to it on a emotional level, we still cognitively can kind of think about, oh, this thing makes this person suffer. I don't want to see people suffer that I respect or care about in some capacity. So I will do something because I think it's moral to conceptually to help a person that's suffering in this manner, right? And there's a lot of, as indifferent as a lot of schizoids are often times described, they're very cognitively empathetic, right? They're very empathetic when it comes to this stuff. Even shit that they don't understand, don't relate to. If they see someone suffering because of it, like they go, "That sucks. Can I do something to help?" If it's like, and if they judge it reasonable for them to insert themselves in some capacity, if they can insert themselves anonymously or without having to bring themselves as to be a part of it in any way, I'm sure that's what they would prefer. But anyway, affective empathy refers to like you feel what the other person's feeling, and that motivates you to act, right? Like, so you're seeing someone encounter a dilemma that's causing them some kind of suffering or happiness, whatever, and you empathize with their emotional state because you understand their emotional state in relation to the conditions, right? So you see it, and then you start feeling it by proxy through them, right? So that's affective. Cognitive is like a thought through decision making process, right? So that's kind of like one of the major ways to sort of, at least in my belief, to sort of describe the difference there. Now, one of the things um, I told you guys, by the way, that the subject was to be family stuff. Not too many people have jumped on to talk about family stuff. If anybody wants to jump about family shit, you're schizoid, whatever, good. Good. No, that's not my hot take. That's not my take, Lindsay. I haven't said my hot take. Okay. This is my hot take. Clumsy, ready yourself. I think that schizoids are not devoid of affective empathy or the ability to have it, or are stunted. Well, they might be stunted in some regards because of a lot of the trauma they've endured, but I don't think they're devoid of affective empathy. It's just that they can't connect to certain types of suffering as easily, right? So, certain types of suffering, they are very affectively empathetic to, right? They could see something that's conceptually more abstractly about life and existence and see someone enduring that suffering. And because of the nature of that type of suffering, that is the type of suffering, or joy, it can be something that's awe or joy or excitement. Because of the nature of it, they can actually feel it when they see it being experienced to some degree. It could be very low, it could be higher, whatever. But it's usually not the interpersonal. Right? It's not the more concretely interpersonal. It'll be something of a different nature, of a more abstract nature, oftentimes. Right? And that's why there's a lot of schizoids out there that can find like emotional connection in certain things like philosophical, spiritual, or fictional uh, narratives and ideas and concepts and shit like that, right? They can find an affective empathy in those kind of more abstract things, right? Something that's very difficult for the average person to be able to do the same with. It's kind of like how you watch a movie and you're impacted by that film in a very different way than almost everyone you talk to. Right? Everyone's hung up on this and this and that as being emotional, and you're sitting there like, I don't get it, but this is what I thought was emotional, and then everyone's like, I don't get it. Right? It's kind of like that, right? And so you can understand intellectually or with your brain, you could go, I understand why people care about that. But the thing I care about is this. And then most people are going, oh, that's not what I care about. I care about this thing over here. So I think that affective empathy is very much just as potent. No, I know what you're talking about, Vumsy. That's the issue, is that you only start developing affective, like start feeling affective empathy with other people, other human beings, when you encounter human beings that actually endure the kind of suffering or joy or anger that you deal with, right? That you personally understand and deal with emotionally, right? So when you have a conversation with another person that has done this, you can suddenly effectively empathize with them regarding that thing. And it doesn't have to be about something interpersonal, right? If, for example, let me give you an example. It's not much of a feeling effectively or visceral. I think it's because narratives stimulate my fantasies. Yeah. I mean, there's an argument to be proposed there, Rumsey. But the way I'm putting it, Bumsy, is that like I could hear, and this is something I've been had to work on for the last year or so because it's been a difficult thing for me to develop this because my shit's all stunted in many ways because of a lot of the trauma and whatever else has disassociated me from my emotional range and shit. But my point being is that when I hear another schizoid person, or even it doesn't have to be a schizoid, another schizophrenia spectrum person say, this thing makes me suffer, and it's like this kind of more abstract concept or idea about life and experience and why and this and that. Like when I hear other schizoids go, Jesus Christ, like I wasn't asked to be born. Why do things have to be this way? Why do I have to be a part of them? Jesus, please, please. Like when I hear that personally, I have affective empathy with that. Like I hear it and I go, fuck. I get it. Because I know what that feels like. And that's where my emotions are too. Right? But when I hear somebody say, oh, my boyfriend cheated on me and I'm so destroyed. Like if they say something like that, I'm just like, oh wow, that person's really distraught. I understand why they might be, and that sucks, right? If I hear somebody see, but like the way say a schizoid was in a relationship, right, and they got cheated on, they might describe that in a very different language, and it might not have anything to do with like the physicality of the situation, right? It might not have anything to do with like there might be a multitude of reasons why they might describe what it is that bothers them about it. That exceeds far beyond the interpersonal in many cases. And if they describe something like that, I would more easily effectively empathize with it because that's how my brain works. That's what my brain does. Can you please do me a favor and listen to Asungus Among Us? It's a banger. Maybe another time, Matthew G. But it's relatable. But like I said, it's not affective or visceral in my case. Yeah, Bumsy, it wasn't for me either. Like if you would have talked to me over a year ago, I would have said, "Yep, I don't viscerally or affectively feel what other people feel." Now that I've been around enough schizoids and other types of people like that, now I know what that feels like, and it's rough. It's fucking shitty, especially when you haven't done it your whole life. And I'm like 38. This shit's fucking dirty, gross. But it is what it is. It is what it is. It do be like that sometimes. You never know, Vamsi. If you would have asked me 2 years ago, I would have said nope. I can't say the same anymore. Oh, hey. Let's see here. Who's on here? Who's on here with me?
I'm back, Fleur.
Oh, hey, Fleur. Welcome back. So, did you want to continue that story, or did you want to talk about whatever I was rambling about just now?
I don't want to stop you from. I would love to hear your story.
Oh, my story. I mean, you're gonna have to ask me questions if you want to hear any of my story. You have to ask me more specific questions. Otherwise, I'll just go off on a ramble, and I don't want to do that. There's just too many things. If you want, like, say you have an experience that, and you want to like reality check it, or you want to go, oh, do other people like this experience it? I can do that, and then I can relate that back to my own experiences. That's easy.
But am I stopping you guys from talking from something?
No, I was just rambling by myself. I don't know. If you don't have a question now, I can ask whoever else is on here to see what's up. But if you have a question, then I can answer it.
I have a lot of questions.
Or whatever. Like, what do you want me to talk about? What part of my experiences would you want to hear? That's what I meant.
Did you talk less?
Did I what?
Did you? Were you more introverted?
Like
Are you an
growing up?
introvert?
Um,
Yeah.
okay, this is what's funny about my situation. I can quickly answer that one. I wouldn't be considered introverted expressively because I've always been somebody that talks a lot and a lot to the point where it becomes annoying or disruptive to classes growing up, right? That's why I got diagnosed with ADHD when I was a kid, right? They're like, this fucking kid won't shut up, right? But what was funny is that I wasn't trying to socialize with people. I just wouldn't shut up about my environment and the things that would call my attention, right? And the things that I was fascinated with. So I'd be sitting there talking about something I read in a book or thoughts I was having about this or that, or if somebody said something and it triggered some stream of consciousness, I would suddenly start talking about it. It wasn't to make friends because it sure shit didn't make me friends. Teachers probably found me annoying. My peers mostly found me confusing, and so on and so forth, right? So I don't know if that would be considered extroverted. You get what I'm saying? Like, do you understand the difference there? Like, is somebody that talks a lot and expresses all their fucking random thoughts inside their head extroverted? Because I wasn't really interested in attempting to make friends or socialize in any kind of way where I was thinking actively, oh, I'm trying to make interpersonal connections with the people around me. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's kind of a weird place because, like, obviously, look, I have a YouTube channel. I do a stream. I talk about shit a lot. But it's like almost like an internal monologue. That's the way I like to say it. I have a constant internal monologue, especially when there's being information's being fed to me, right? And then I'm just spewing that internal monologue outward. And it it's I've always had this tendency to do so, but oftentimes it would come at a cost or it wouldn't be beneficial. That's why I started masking when I got older and temper that shit because it would be a problem. But I wouldn't say I'm extroverted outside of I love conversation about topics, right? But would I go out of my way to go make friends or do a bunch of other things? No, absolutely not. Fuck no.
So right now,
Yes.
that you know that you're not doing it, would you do it?
Wait, say it again. Explain again.
So right now, if you need to, if you see there's a benefit for, if you make friends, you see there's a benefit
Okay, yes.
for
I
yourself.
I actually now understand after a lot of work on myself and dealing and talking to other Zoids and stuff. Yes, I've now discovered there is a benefit to socialize with people that do understand me. Yes. There is a benefit. I discovered that benefit. I am now 38, and it took me till I was very much middle aged before I discovered the benefit of interpersonal communication outside of the connection I made with my wife, which took many years. Like friends, like that I can actually emotionally connect with. Yes, it took a long time for me to get to that point, and it's only developed in the last 2 years mostly.
Do you see the benefit? Do you like it?
It's a mixed
Yeah.
bag. Because I don't know how to regulate a lot of these feelings yet that come with it because I'm not used to them. So, and I'm very much used to a very specific sort of type of thinking and experience when it comes to other people. And so, now that I've discovered there's more to it, it's very difficult for me to emotionally manage because it causes me sometimes discomfort and confusion that is difficult for me to process, but also causes me good feelings that are just as difficult for me to process in many regards. Yes, I mean that's my experience. I hope that helped.
No, it makes sense.
Okay.
I'm 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 a similar age in you.
You're a similar age as me.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're middle aged in your 30s.
Um,
Okay, up
more
there.
like
You're
37.
what happened?
30. I'm like 1 year younger than you.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I mean. If you would have asked me at 31, 32, 35, 36, like if you would have asked me like over 2 years ago, oh, is that
Mhm.
possible? I would have said no. I think I'm always going to be like this. And now I could say no, it's possible because I've been working at it and doing it mostly for there's very much intellectualized reasons why I've done it. Initially, it was because I want to see if it's possible, and if I'm going to advocate for the helping of people like this, I have to discover what is possible within myself and what isn't, considering that I'm diagnosed this way, and I haven't been able to manage as such in any capacity as long as I have so far. So I thought, if I could do it, that means it might be possible, and maybe other people can do it. And then I started doing it, and then other people that are diagnosed schizoid started doing it. So then I was like, oh shit, maybe this is a thing we could do. Fuck. And then I started connecting the dots in a lot of other places, and then I'm like, oh, that's good. So maybe it's doable. I don't know, it's doable for everybody, but it's a doable thing.
Well, mhm. No, I started doing it, but in a different way. Um,
Hmm.
but I thought it's just a trauma response, and I didn't know it's schizoid. Um, I I uh, I started learning a different language
Mhm.
and speaking, and the people around me were speaking that language, so I started speaking to them that language, and then I felt like, oh, I could talk.
Okay.
And then other people that didn't know the language were like, wow, you know the language, that's like amazing.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
but they have so much more experience.
Are you talking about like a literal language?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're making it's like a metaphor to what it is that I'm talking about, like an
Yeah,
actual physical
no, it's
language.
like,
Yeah,
I
like a
didn't know
language.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
No,
There's different languages. There's different emotional languages.
well,
Yeah.
I started learning Spanish and I started speaking to people in Spanish. Um,
Hmm.
and I wouldn't talk to anybody. Like I felt like I couldn't. I didn't like the people that were speaking English. I wouldn't talk to. But then
Okay.
I started. I just wanted to learn Spanish, so I started practicing it with people.
Okay. I think I get what you're saying. I speak Spanish myself. I'm somewhat of a Spanish speaker myself, uh, as the meme has foretold. Um,
Mhm.
but oh well, you know what? Maybe another time we can talk some Spanish.
I'm not
Uh,
good at it, but
I don't give a
I know.
fuck. My Spanish is like mostly good because I grew up with it and I can read it
Yeah.
and I can speak it. My writing of it is probably dodgy. I could probably write like children's stories and like you young adult stories, but I definitely couldn't write as complex as English. But I can definitely speak it. It's a little mocho, if you know what that is. It's like dodgy sometimes. Like I have kind of an accent because my family's Costa Rican, but yeah. Anyway, and also because like I mostly speak English, I can forget certain words, how to say certain words, and I need a reminder. But outside of that, sí, mi español está bien, sirve bien. Yo puedo
Mhm.
hablar de lo que sea en cualquier manera. So, but in any case, thank you for the question. I see Zis is on here. Hey, what's up, Zis? Are you available, Zis? Or oh, there you are.
Hey, how you doing?
Do you give a fuck?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let me look for those damn earbuds.
Hey, you do use this.
Somewhere along the line, I must have hit a setting or something, and I haven't figured out which way to go back to get to it so I can fix it again.
You do use this.
Yeah, what can I say?
You get your boomer ass in order. I get to call you that because you're older than me, so it's fun. One thing,
That's okay. I
no,
earned
yeah,
every damn one of these gray hairs. I'm proud of them.
no, that's one thing I'll tell you right now. One of the things I like about you being on this is that since you're older than me, like I feel younger than everyone else that jumps on my fucking stream because like everyone else that talks to me on my stream or like in the chat, they're all younger than me, like almost all
Yeah.
most of the time. So when you jump on, it's kind of refreshing because it's like, oh, I get to be the young person for a minute. Sweet, cool.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean it's true.
Oh,
It
shit.
really is true.
Well, yeah.
But anyway, what's up?
I
What's
don't
you
know.
in
I
here
think
for?
I bring a different perspective because I've lived with SPD so long without treatment. So I think I've become a little bit more of the classic poster child kind of Zoid
All right.
because I lived it so long without treatment. So sometimes I feel a little more like a more fundamental Zoid than I am somebody that's up on all of the metaphysical stuff and this other shit.
You
I'm
a more
just
down to earth. How? By the way, just for the audience, as small as it is, how what is your age, if you don't mind saying?
I turned 61 last week.
All right, there we go. I'll be there in 20 years, almost. No, it's 20 something. But
The
anyway,
truth be told, I don't feel any different as far as mind is concerned than I did when I was in my 20s.
That's good.
It's just
The Alzheimer's hasn't kicked in. That's good. Or the dementia.
Not even close, man.
Good. No dementia yet. Let's keep rolling
my
the dice on
body
that.
is rebelling.
Oh yeah,
So.
my body's already rebelling, and I'm only 38, and like, I'm already going. Oh, I sure as shit don't feel like when I was 22. Like,
yeah.
So that's a Floor. You know what I'm talking about already, right? You said you're 37 or so, so you know you don't feel like you did when you were like fucking 21, right?
Right.
Yeah, shit sucks.
Well,
Anyway, yeah, but anyway, my energy levels are already shit to begin with, so you know it's not great. Go ahead, Ziz, sorry. So what's your perspective regarding this stuff? Like, I know you said you're kind of like pretty hunkered down when it comes to a lot of this shit because of how long you've been dealing with it. So go ahead.
It's kind of like I don't expect a whole lot of therapy. And the only reason I'm even in it is because life pulled a fast one on me, and all of a sudden I'm having to deal with extended family that I had never been close to before. Mm-hmm. And you know how that thing we have that underlies a lot that we try desperately not to hurt other people?
That's not all of us necessarily. We're either incredibly indifferent or otherwise, but yeah. Like I know what you're referring to. Like we're trying not to become an inconvenience to other people.
I don't give a shit about strangers.
Mm-hmm.
But my 5 nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
Those are the people that I don't want to hurt.
Yeah. Like a lot of schizoids have like a set of like ideas, principles that they kind of stick to, and ethics and shit, and they're unique to every one. But yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
And I know when I get frustrated, I can be a whole lot like my father. So I just stay the fuck away from everybody.
Well, what's that like? Like real mean spirited, or
the man was?
No, I'm saying you. Do you get mean spirited?
Me?
No, if things get bad.
It's usually when I get frustrated.
Yeah, you get a little mean spirited, maybe a little callous.
Yes, very callous. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. No, I totally get what you're saying because that's how I can be.
Very biting sarcasm.
Yeah, or just basically you act like a dick, right? A unfeeling cock. Like,
yep.
Yeah. I know.
Or in my case, a pussy.
Yeah. You said it. I did. But in any case, yeah. I know what you're saying. Oh well, I mean, yeah, you could say you weren't being a dick; you were being a cunt.
There you go. The C word.
Yeah, well, I like that word. It's a good word. And if you go to overseas, they don't mind saying it very much, especially in Australia or Britain. But anyway, so what are your thoughts?
Yep.
I mean, what were you going to just say though? Are you talking about like family more specifically, like? Because you were talking about that thing. Yeah,
that's really the only reason I'm even in therapy.
Yeah.
Is because now I'm stuck with extended family,
mm-hmm.
and I don't want my issues hurt them.
So you understood what I meant when I was talking about how like somebody that's schizoid or whatever that doesn't understand or connect emotionally to the interpersonal very much can unintentionally hurt people they don't want to hurt, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like my biggest fear in the world. I just got done writing something on Quora about that.
Yeah, but, I get it. Like, because you're just like, I'm not looking to hurt anyone, and even if it's unintentional shit, I'd like to avoid it.
Yeah.
Especially people that I give a fuck about and respect and care about.
I know I was thinking when I was writing on Quora is that for some reason people seem to think that, well, people that don't know anything about us tend to get hurt and they think we're narcissistic. And I put in the answer, no, that's not right. We're probably as far from being narcissistic as possible. You know, I care about the people in my close circle. I care enough
ignorant,
to
like,
stay the hell away from them.
But sometimes it's ignorance. It's like a certain type of emotional ignorance because not in a bad way, not in a pejorative way. It's just like ignorance because that's not how our mind generally works, right? Like it's just like
You know,
it's like I don't
I
get it.
usually find that people who insist upon thinking that kind of stuff
Mm-hmm.
are so busy thinking about themselves and how interacting with us affects them and how it hurts. Oh my God. And it's almost like there's more than one person on this planet than you, chickie. And
Yeah.
see, that's
Yeah.
that's
Well,
the kind of thing that I say.
that's what's funny though is that uh, I would pose the argument that there's a lot of schizoids out there, and obviously it's pretty justifiable considering the conditions and everything else I've mentioned. But I think there's a lot of schizoids out there that that's kind of what they become, right? They become an individual that only thinks about their own perspective because no one thinks about theirs, right? And so they can become somebody that goes, all this interpersonal stuff that I don't understand is stupid and dumb and worthless, and everyone's dumb and crazy, and they should stay away from me, right?
Yeah,
So
but we're not the manipulative
no,
type
no, no,
that
no,
you
no,
find
definitely
in
not.
true narcissism.
No, no, absolutely not.
Um,
No, absolutely not. It's more like, but
it's
you know what
like
I'm saying? That resentment
what?
can definitely build up and make somebody go, I'm not looking to hurt anybody, but I don't want anything to do with anyone because everyone else's weird concern and emotionally interpersonal drama and over preoccupation makes me uncomfortable and I hate it. And not just that, they might not even think, oh, it makes me uncomfortable and I hate it. They might think it is stupid and dumb and I'm fucking better than that, when in fact that's really literally coming from a place of ignorance, because they don't understand, literally don't understand what it is that these people might necessarily be encountering, right? They
Yeah.
might those that's a difference between like oftentimes a schizoid or somebody becomes a hermit or whatever that has worked on that cognitive empathy or had a reason to, and the ones that said fuck all that and they didn't work on that, and because they don't have the affective empathy toward that stuff, they just say fuck it, I don't care. But like
Yeah.
what's funny is that what you're describing is like it's like a cognitive empathy, that you have strong cognitive
Well,
empathy that you have for the
I've
people.
got that shit coming out my ears, or I couldn't have done what I did for a living.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Um,
Yeah.
but as far as what draws me into therapy, what keeps me there, it's not an internal desire to get better for my own sake.
Hmm.
I gave up on that shit decades ago.
I'd argue you don't
Um,
have to, but that's your choice.
well, let me put it this way. After a while,
Hmm.
a body gets sick of trying.
No, absolutely,
Um,
of course.
and, you lose faith, and it's like, okay, fine, I'm retired. There's no reason I have to be around these other people out here. Just for God's sakes, I put my life on the line for the general public. Haven't I earned the right to be just left the fuck alone?
No, absolutely, you have.
Yeah.
But
And it's like, um, I just, it's a weird thing to realize that the only reason I'm putting myself through the hell of therapy is to keep from hurting somebody instead of because I want to grow and get past what I deal with.
okay, so this is my question though. Um, okay, is this? I know you get because that's the thing. Is this like what's hilarious about you? May I say?
Yeah, sure.
One thing that I find hilarious about you is that, well, you're one tough bitch. I'll tell you that. Okay, but it's really, what's interesting is because a lot of us have a lot of these defenses and shit. When I bring up certain shit when I'm talking to you, that's
Hmm.
when I enter the no zone. I
Uh-huh.
like I feel like there's something hurting there, right? So
Oh, there's a shitload of hurt in
no,
there.
there's a lot of hurt in there, and that's what's interesting is that you could probably take a punch to the cunt a lot easier than having to talk about certain shit, right? So
Yep.
and that's what's funny because I'm the same. Right? I'd rather get kicked in the balls than talk about certain things,
Hmm.
and but like one of the things that I like to talk about, and you stop me. It's just like I know it's bugged you when I bring it up, but since we talked this much, and you've been on here a few times, like I have a hard time believing, and maybe tell me if I'm fucking, overstepping anything. I have a hard time believing you don't find some enjoyment in talking to people that understand what you're talking about.
Hmm.
Because in my mind, logically speaking,
I
why
don't
would someone
mind
keep
doing it
doing it?
under certain conditions.
And what are those conditions? What are those conditions?
I got to be in a way where I can hang up.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
You
You
know,
could always do that. It's a fucking internet.
or I've got to be in something like where it's a written social media forum where I can choose to answer or not choose to answer.
Yeah, that's a very common Zoidy thing, which is escape, the ability to leave or escape a situation and not be subjugated to it. Yeah, that's very normal.
But even then, there are certain places that I'm not going to go without my therapist.
So you've gone to places with your therapist, like certain types of places?
No. I mean, there's certain places within me that I'm not going to go
absolutely.
without my therapist.
No, for sure. I'm not going to fucking ask you who diddled you or something. I don't know if somebody did. I'm just fucking with you. But like, I'm not going to be on here trying to dig into people's pasts and shit. But that they don't want to share or talk about. But what I'm curious about is like the present, right? Like I like to talk about what's happening right now with the people you're interacting with right now, because I'm here right now and other people are listening right now. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm interested in. And so like one thing I've discovered personally about a lot of schizoids that I've talked to is their actions sometimes contradict their words, right? And it's not in a judgmental way. If anything, it's in a very fucking relatable, and I feel, again, as I mentioned earlier, an affective empathy toward that contradiction, because I understand where it's coming from, because I've participated in it a lot myself, right? Especially more recently, which is, a person can make a lot of statements about not needing anyone, but their actions show something a little different. And there's a certain shame associated internally from somebody either mentioning that or pointing it out. And I get that shame because I deal with it myself, though I've definitely overcome a lot of it over time, for obvious reasons, because I kind of...
Oh, yeah. Well, it overcomes all of that self-talk that I did through over my lifetime to build myself up enough so I could function. Because, I know you didn't ask specifically, but
tell me.
Yes, I've experienced some sexual abuse, physical abuse.
Same. So you've heard me talk about it. Not physical, but sexual.
Yeah. Emotional and psychological. And with me, the physical started before I was 6 months old.
That's how it goes. That's how it be sometimes.
No, it sucks, don't it?
No, yeah. Well,
but I tell you
what.
I've
talked to people that literally their first memory of trauma was, for whatever reason, and they still dream about it, even though it doesn't make sense, is them being strangled on the way out of the birth canal.
Damn.
Like literally, yeah. But I've had people have like weird, like a fear of strangulation because they have like these weird visceral memories of being strangled at birth by like their, and they were like by their umbilical cord or something.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild shit out there. But anyway,
a lot of it happened so young that I don't remember it, but I know it occurred because I've talked to family members that I trust. So, but I can't decide if not being able to remember it because it was all so much of it was pre-verbal is a blessing or not, because that shit sneaks out at the worst possible moment.
Oh yeah, it can be taking a fat shit and it just pops up. Right?
Yeah. Oh. But I don't know. I wrote something about the power of giving up. A lot of the stress that comes along with being a Zoid that's still trying to figure in or figure out why they are who they are, and all of that self-imposed internal stuff, that stress.
Mm-hmm.
When you just viscerally give up, all of that disappears.
Like, are you talking about like you just give up on it? Like, you
Yeah,
just go
it's like
fuck it.
it's like fuck it. I am who I am.
Yeah.
I try to be nice to the people around me,
Uh huh.
just because I don't want to be an ass.
Yeah.
And if they won't let me, well, excuse me, that's their problem. They get what they buy.
Yeah. I mean, I would say I agree with you, but I would also take it one step further, which is I think there's plenty of things that people need to learn to let go, that have become pathological as a schizoid, because many of us have been kind of like struggling, like you said, of trying to figure certain things out because we think we don't fit in the puzzle, and we keep trying to put ourselves in the puzzle and we don't fit, and instead of just accepting that and moving on, we get stuck in this loop of trying to fit into places that we just don't feel comfortable, right? And I agree with that 100%. The way I would take it a step further is, okay, so sure, you can accept that you don't fit in a lot of the puzzles. Maybe the most common puzzles are not your puzzles that you fit in. Maybe, but the way I take it further is go, maybe there are puzzles for you. And
yeah, they are, but
there's I don't think it's
it
as
just
painful.
doesn't feel like it's worth it anymore.
No, yeah, that's your prerogative. But my point is, this is kind of what I'm saying about actions, and like this action in of itself of jumping on and talking to me feels like that's not true. And my mom might be wrong. I might be stupid. Whatever. Like, I don't care.
No, I can see where that comes from.
But like, it feels as if like, oh, okay, maybe you're never gonna get to a point where you're gonna fucking fit into it. But maybe you just like to see that puzzle you could belong to and dabble in it. But you're gonna keep your own. You're gonna stay in your own lane, for lack of a better phrase. So, but my point is that there's a lot of schizoids out there. Maybe it's a youth thing. Maybe it is. Maybe a lot of it does have to do with how long you've been struggling with this shit. There's a lot of people out there that are finding, oh, there's a different puzzle. There's a different puzzle. I'm a piece. There's a different puzzle. I don't have to keep. I can let go of these other puzzles, and I can try to find the puzzle that actually fit in a little bit. And then once I can do that, I'm relaxed enough to accept that I don't fit into the other puzzles, and maybe even learn to like and accept those other puzzles. And so
the puzzle that I fit in the best is the college classroom in the STEM field. There's a feeling of sticking with reality and facts and stuff you can get your head on, and I can let intelligence and thought and creativity just explode within those boundaries.
That's what's
and
so
the people around me are doing the same thing, and we are all weird in the same way.
Yeah, that's a different puzzle, and that's a puzzle a lot of schizoids can fit into. And you know who else fits into those puzzles? It's like autistic people. They fit into those puzzles too in different ways, right? Like for a lot of schizoids, they might be able to do something creative, or something like, I don't know, something topical with other people, and find some semblance of connection there, right? The only difference is that, and this is where it becomes difficult, is that, at least in my case, I've experienced situations in which I feel like I'm connecting to that puzzle, but then as soon as the puzzle shifts away from that, I feel distant and disconnected again, right? But what's interesting is, like, it's kind of like you're working on something together, and then that same group that you're working with, that you're like in the zone with, suddenly goes, oh man, that was great, now let's go have pizza and talk.
Yeah, that's when I stop.
Yeah, and then that's when you're like, oh, right? But what's interesting is, if you're dealing with somebody else, right, other people that are more concerned with the puzzle you described, regardless of what that puzzle is, right, that's conceptual or abstract, you can do that with those people longer and stay there for extended periods of time and
Oh yeah.
actually establish emotional connections with those people via those things you're actually emotionally attached to. And nobody's going to sit there and go, oh, now let's, like, it's funny because, like, I think about it like this. The difference is it's not going to be, hey, let's go have pizza and then let's talk about all this interpersonal shit that I can't connect to the same way. It's going to be, hey, I'm hungry. Let's go have pizza and keep talking about this thing that we were enjoying.
Yeah, it's like I taught myself to program in VBA,
Yeah.
which is the code that runs behind the Microsoft Office suite. Just because I was curious, and the people at work found out about it. And, you know, there were one or two people in the whole damn department that were interested in that kind of thing, and if we got together, which was rare, there would come a time when we were getting hungry or it was time for coffee or the room was filling up or whatever. It's like, okay, y'all grab your laptops and let's go down to XYZ and get something to eat.
Yeah, because your
And
body's
what we
telling
would
you you
do is
got to
just
eat.
move
Yeah.
the meeting.
Yeah. And you're still having a
It's
pretty
not a
decent
social
time, right?
thing. We just kind of move the meeting.
But that's my argument, is that it's still social. It's just a different kind of social. It's social in that you're interacting with other human beings and having and networking with each other's brains in a very different way. And I almost want to, like, detach the word socialize from just what is conventionally interpersonal. Hold on one second. Just what do you call it? Family stuff. I was taking care of.
That's cool.
But
They got to come first.
Always, 100%. Yeah, and I joke, but especially my wife, because she's had to deal with my ass as long as she has.
Yeah.
So she's a bad bitch in my book
Those
for
of
that
us
reason
that
alone.
do marry and manage to stay married have somehow, some way found ourselves an angel that just kind of fell out of heaven, or
Yeah,
a
but you know
complete
what,
saint.
man? Like it. No,
You know, they ain't
I'll be
perfect, but
realistic.
oh my God.
I'll be realistic. Me and my wife can be angels and devils to each other, but we're working
Yeah.
on we're working on keeping it more angel than devil, and hopefully it's working. And my efforts as well as theirs is, keeping things on the
Well,
up and
that's the
up.
secret. As long as both of you identify the problem and you're both willing to work on it, you're going to be fine.
And sometimes it could
It's
take
when
a
somebody gives up
decade or
to quit.
two. So it could take
Yeah,
more than
but
a
it
decade
could take a
sometimes.
decade.
Yeah.
You know, so what?
Yeah, so what? Honestly, especially when there's kitties involved. But
Oh yeah, oh, hell yeah.
yeah. So in any case, yeah, I mean that's my opinion. Like I think what you're describing, the letting go, I think it's good. It's definitely a fundamental part of making some internal progress to make your life feel at least more manageable and better, and find some good in it. But I think the second part, the part after that, so the I guess the extra bonus features is finding people you can actually talk to and connect with, and then find extra enjoyment out of life that doesn't necessarily, because I know you might disagree, but there's certain types of enjoyment that is inaccessible by yourself.
Oh, exactly.
So it's inaccessible. I'm not saying somebody has to get it or it's a requirement to life, right?
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that could be good and enriching. and I think that that's kind of what I'm trying to advocate for, like within schizoids and people like this themselves. I'm trying to advocate for that idea, whether they want to hear it or not. That's fine. It's up to them. And then I'm also trying to advocate for other people that aren't like this to understand the shit we're dealing with and to try to develop. I like it's kind of hilarious. Like what you know what I just realized? Okay, here's a good way to phrase it. This is good. This is actually great. I'm glad I had this stream. Um, I'm I'm advocating for schizo spectrum people that feel alienated from the world, and schizo more specifically because that's what I deal with. To develop affect, to develop or accept that they can achieve affective empathy. It just requires very specific conditions and certain types of people, and
Mm-hmm.
and I'm also trying to advocate for people that are not like this to develop their cognitive empathy when it comes to understanding our dilemma and situation, right? Even if they're not going to
Yeah.
effectively get it because they don't experience this in the same way, because they have a really different
Yeah.
way of thinking and experiencing shit. So
Well,
that's kind of what I'm
it's like I
trying
told
to
my
do.
therapist. My goal for my therapy
Hmm.
is, now that I've moved down to take care of my parents and they have both passed away, I'm stuck here living in the old family home place
Hmm.
where everybody gathers for holidays and all that kind of crap.
Got it.
What I want to do is to be able to look forward to one of those gatherings and not walk through those few days with a god awful case of heartburn, just
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
wound up like a
You
spring.
want to eat
I
those
want to
chilies
be
and
able
enjoy
to,
them
yeah, I want to be able to enjoy this extended family that I have.
in your way.
Enjoy having them here, and just I'm tired of the stress of having to step into a role that I never wanted.
No, I can absolutely empathize with what you mean by that. Absolutely.
Because my plan for retirement, um, my brother was originally my parents' caregiver.
Hmm.
And the plan was he was always the emotionally astute one in the family.
Hmm.
And he was going to be the part of the extended family, and he was going to live here in the old family home place. I was going to retire and move to an off grid farm on the backside of some mountain deep in Appalachia. And I'd show up as required for family gatherings, send birthdays and Christmas presents, and then not leave the farm for anything other than going to the store. Um,
Hey,
I wanted very little contact with anybody.
and jumping on my stream.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Because
No,
see, I can hang up on your ass.
yeah, yeah. That's why I tell people.
But,
That's the
it's
cool thing about my
like,
the server that I have on Discord. Where people interact and shit that are dealing with this, or just talking about it. Just they're literally because we have sections on our server that are about topics, right? And so people are
yeah,
talking about the topics and they're sticking to the topics, and they're having a good time doing that. And the good thing is they can leave and come and go whenever they want. And then on top of that, they can even leave my server, like quit the server, say fuck all this, and leave because something triggers some kind of shit in them. And then if they want to come back, I let them back in. I no questions asked. Like that's how I run it. Like it's just like, oh, you've already applied once. If you leave
yep,
because you have a fucking meltdown, cool. Just come back later, and if you come back, cool. And if you don't come back, no one's gonna be asking you, oh, please come back. It's just gonna be like, oh, you do
yeah,
whatever the fuck you want. I like to consider the Zoid Void like an autonomous collective, right? So
exactly.
that's how I like to run my server. It's like an autonomous collective, like, right? So
Oh man,
like if somebody just up and
I don't
leaves,
know.
they just. But anyway, um,
If I had to boil my worldview down into one analogy, I am the stray cat of the human race. I like it out here. I've been astray for so long that I've
Yeah.
given up on trying to find a home with people and all this other crap. And if people get too close, I spit, hiss, swipe at them, and run. And then just go back to looking in the garbage can for my dinner. Just
Yeah,
forget it ever happened and move on.
yeah, but see,
I'm-
this is what's funny though. Is this if people get too close, right? You hiss and
yeah,
scratch and spit. But what if it's another cat?
but
Ha
if
ha
it's,
ha 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 ha.
what? If it's a cat? Yeah,
It's,
I
no,
love animals.
no, I'm saying if you're a cat, if you're the stray cat, what if it's another stray cat? Are you gonna hiss and spit at
Cats are
them?
very territorial. Have you never lived
No,
with a cat?
it's metaphorical. Okay,
But I'm
It's a
saying this
metaphor.
metaphor fits so damn good. Stray cats fight like stray
Yeah,
cats.
but stray cats also mate, so whatever.
Well, yeah, but I'm way past that time in my life, so
I
that
mean,
shit don't even
yeah,
work anymore.
okay, you got dick down enough times. You're over it.
Yeah,
Okay, so that was great. That was really great. I have to kind of jet on the stream for now, so I'm gonna
yeah,
do my
that's cool.
my usual spiel. And please don't leave. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. I know the fun talk is over. Please don't leave. Just hear me out if you haven't before. If you already heard this type of shit, you can leave, whatever. But if you haven't, please. If you want to join the server, please go on the Zoid Void. It's on Discord. There's Schizoids there. You can talk, all that shit. We kind of create the rules and everything around those ideas and that sort of stuff. Please join up in there. If you like my content, if you like these conversations, if you like my videos, check out the interviews and conversations I've had with other people. They're in the video section. If you're not into live streams, you might like the videos more. Whatever. Please support me on Patreon. That shit's so fucking useful. Please, fuck. Like, I'm never gonna turn this shit into any kind of career. I don't get the support of the people to give a fuck. Also, if you don't like Patreon, I have Coffee or Ko-Fi. If you don't like that shit, I have PayPal. It's all in the description of the video. If you don't like that shit, send me crypto. I don't care. Whatever works for you. Any kind of support is incredibly useful, right? And to everybody that's on the Zoid Void that boosts the server, I appreciate and thank you for that as well. I forget oftentimes to mention it, but I absolutely appreciate the kind of support you guys give me on there too, and give just the server in general. Hold on one second, guys. Oh, because I didn't want to. All right, I'm back, and sorry, just baby. I don't like showing my kids on camera. So so all of that shit is helpful. It lets me basically make money toward keeping my family going, keeping this project going, and whatever. If you have some cognitive or effective empathy toward me, throw making dollars. convert that into money, just so I can help more peeps and talk with more peeps and advocate more, whatever. If you want something in return, if you want like a service, right? If you're like thinking, "Fuck you, buddy, I'm not donating shit to you. I want something in return." Well, the Patreon has some stuff you might be finding, like joining the gotcha, which you can submit stuff for me to occasionally like interact with and stuff like that. And there's like little special sections or whatever on the server. If you don't give a fuck about that, I can also do one other thing. Offer you one other thing. There's a group called the Schizoid, which me and Joanna of the channel Mind Mastery, also an amazing channel. Check it out, Mind Mastery on YouTube. But the Mind Mastery channel, me and Joanna, who is a psychological coach, run a group, like a Zoom meeting group, like which is more direct, more exposure kind of sort of therapy in some regard. And she's a psych coach that we talk about schizoid specific stuff, interact with it. It helps you sort of socialize with other people that are dealing with similar issues. in the sense that you can talk about that shit, and it generally stays topical. And if it is emotional, it's emotional in a way that might make sense. And also, yeah, it's helpful and it costs money. It's not free. Unfortunately, I can't do any of that stuff for free because it's just time is money. Unfortunately, that's how it works.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for that one schizoid, rich person to be like, I'm gonna bankroll you, and then I could just do all this shit for free. Like if there's a schizoid millionaire out there, right? Let's just say you kept your head low and you became a millionaire and you give a shit about what I'm doing. Please, for the love of God, hit me up. You can go ahead and bankroll my ass. Bankroll my ass, and then I could do everything for free and not ask for any more fucking money. So, but that's because I hate doing that. So, in any case, um, beyond that you get something in return there. It's a group, and we get a lot out of it, and I get stuff out of it too, and so does Joanna, because we learn more about how to talk about this stuff and how to deal with it, how to get to the bottom of some of these questions, and we're learning more and more as these meetings go on and everything. So, but if you want to join it, please do. There's like 4 open spots right now for Saturday. I don't know if anybody signed up this Saturday very much. Like, I think we have a few spots, but I want more people. More is better. So fill those spots, guys. Ko-Fi give you the full cut of donations. Yeah, Ko-Fi gives you a fuller cut, yes. But the Patreon cut they take is not that bad considering the convenience of Patreon. But it's still, if you don't want any money of your money to go to some company or something, Ko-Fi is a little bit better. Or coffee or whatever the fuck it's called. But like I said, the other thing is PayPal. You pay for the group session. You can join it once. You can join it another time. You can fucking join it once and never come back. You can join it every other week. You join it every week, whatever you can afford. And we are learning with you as we continue forward, and it's really useful. So please fill in some slots. Please jump in, give it a shot at least once, see if it's something for you. And yeah, and yeah, we can go from there. Oh, and if you're a patron already, you can get a discount. So if you're already on my Patreon, you can get a discount code on there so that you can get a cheaper price, at least for the first 4 sessions, if you want to join it. So the more people, the better. But all the people that pay for this are generally people that are dealing with schizoid shit. So you're not going to get your average support group, I'll tell you that, or whatever the fuck it is you would like to call it. All right, that's it, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me. Thanks, Zis. Thanks, Flora, for jumping on. Thanks, Nomo. I know you took off, but thanks for jumping on as well. I appreciate your time because it gives me content. I'm just kidding. Just say that. It gives me content, and you're not useless fucks. Thank you. No, I'm kidding.
You are quite welcome, dear.
All right, good. So,
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, in any case, guys, as usual, when day's dark, always remember happy day. And also, if you have any questions and you're on the server and about, the other stuff I mentioned about how to support, just DM me. I don't give a fuck. If it's about helping in some capacity, DM me. I'm always willing to listen in some regard. I might not answer right away or anything, but I'm always willing to listen. Okay, peace out. I'm gonna play a nice little outro song. Enjoy it if you want, and whatever. Let me find it first, though. What am I gonna play first? I'll find something. I'll find something. I'm sure. But anyway, here's the thing regarding the Schizoid. While I find something to play. Oh, and I just read what Ibloy blog. Thank you for taking so much time to stream the information to everyone who helps talk about it. Yeah, no problem, Ibloy. For sure. Just trying to help.
I live in sickness, I live in spinning. The whole wide world is a carousel. I stood in line, and now the ride's beginning. I could still do so much more if I don't kill myself. I live in nausea, mental nausea, in a spotlight shaped like a spiral. Bible, got secret idol. If the whole sick world was a smile, I feel sick. Still feel sick. Still feel sick. I feel sick. Still feel sick. Still feel sick. Still feel sick. Still feel sick. I feel sick. Still feel sick. Still feel sick. Smile like a rainbow. Smile like a crescent moon. Just keep doing what you're doing. Okay. Just keep doing what you're doing. Smile like a crack in the earth. Like a curse, like a corpse, like a wound. Smile like a rainbow. Just keep doing what you're doing. What am I supposed to do? Gum stained black hoodie, gray soul, and static in my eyes. Try to see the future, but I'm not sure if it applies. By the water in a piston makes hurt. Trying to see the world through the anhedonia. Feels kinda like my soul is burned. Too late for now. Not like the other girls, it's just too evil to be stylish. Don't tell me this is too dramatic, cause I like it. Still feel sick. Still feel sick. I feel sick. Still feel sick. Still feel sick. I feel sick. Still feel sick. Still feel sick. I feel sick. Still feel sick. Still feel sick. I feel sick.
I hate that stupid